Next, we're going to talk about a kickstand hinge. This can be very similar to a deadlift, or really the top half of a deadlift. We're going to try to move through our hips as much as possible in this movement. I'm going to set up with what we call a kickstand, which is going to be a little bit of a staggered stance. I'm going to have one foot behind the other. My feet are going to be roughly as wide as my hips, so I don't want to go out too wide. I'm going to have them in line with my hips. I can go a little more narrow if that helps me feel my front leg a little more. But I'm going to set up with my front leg bent. So I'm going to bend at the knee, and I'm going to feel the pressure pushing down through my midfoot on the front leg, which means that I'm going to push through the ball of my big toe here and then the front of my heel. I'm going to feel a lot of that pressure there the entire set. And the goal is for the knee not to move, but to maintain a little bit of bend so I can actually move through my hip and I can get the muscles of my hip really strong and I can get those moving. From here, I'm going to maintain my bend. I can put my hands on my hips, or I can put one hand on the front of my hip, one hand on the back, so that I make sure that I move my hip back as I go to push through. Again, as I get down to the bottom, I should feel the pressure go down into my midfoot on the front leg. So I'm going to sit back into my hip here, maintaining my bend like that, trying to stay as long as I can through my spine. So I feel a stretch in the glute here on the left side, which is the front leg. I'm going to maintain that knee forward. I should feel the pressure moving through that front foot, and I'm going to try to push the ground down like I'm smashing a bug underneath my front foot, and I'm going to feel my glute and my hamstring on this front side work. Same thing, I'm going to sit back into it here. Hips go backward, sit back into the bottom, exhale, push away, just nice and slow. Trying to sit back from the side. You'll see that I move through my front leg here. So I'm going to sit my hip back, maintain the bend, sit my hip back here, push backward like that, and then I'm going to push away out of the bottom. I should have my hip move, but my knee is going to stay still as I go to sit back into that hip. When it comes to load, I can either load with the weight with both sides, or start with both hands here, where I'm going to try to get my nose over my toe, and I'm going to have one weight go in front, and I'm going to try to set that weight onto my toes, onto that front leg, maintaining the knee bend, going nice and slow. As I go to push down, I'll feel that hip really light up. Or I can load it on the side of the back leg. When I go to hinge back, I'll feel that sit in through there as I go up and down. But just try to maintain the knee bend. Don't let your knee slide back. Don't let all the weight go to your heel. Try to stay in your midfoot.